Hey, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to Military Monday, ClearedJobs.Net Military Monday. Today is June the 9th, 2025, and want to welcome you. It's summertime is here. Looking forward to a good conversation. We've got a terrific guest with us today, a gentleman by the name of Darrell Eplee, the Talent Acquisition Director at a big old company called Amentum. So we're going to be talking to Darrell about a few different things about how to work around how to navigate the systems of large companies like Amentum. They've got some really cool stuff going on over there. We'll talk about his background a little bit too and what they've got going on. If you're out there and you're on LinkedIn and you're watching us live, if you want to say hello, throw something in the comment section. If you want to let us know what branch you're in, when you're getting out, where you're at, throw that out there. Let us know. If you've got specific questions as we're going through there, if we happen to catch those during the live broadcast, we might be able to pull that question into our discussion. So we'll remind you guys of that as we get going forward. But we are definitely out there and we're monitoring those things. So Darrell, let's start off by just saying hello, and you can tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Bob. My name is Darrell Eplee. I'm the Talent Acquisition Director at Amentum's Intelligence Cyber Group. So I'm an Army veteran, did 21 years, got out, got into government contracting on the program side, did some counter-IED training, and then ventured over into recruiting. That's kind of where I've made my home and been there for about the last 10, 12 years, providing recruiting for various companies and supporting a lot of the national security and defense of not only our country, but the nation.
Yeah, and you said that you're at Amentum, which we've ClearedJobs.Net Amentum. We've had a great relationship over the years. See you guys at our job fairs, stuff like that. A lot of people might ask, what does Amentum do? And I mean, I would tell them, what don't you do? But how would you answer that question of what does Amentum do?
I would almost respond the same way. It might be easier to say what we don't do. So I don't know if everybody's heard, pretty recently there's a rather large merger. And a lot of times when you have mergers, company merges, they merge because they're similar. But with a recent merger within Amentum, along with Jacobs Engineering, we really became a one-stop shop. We're in 80 different countries. We have over 53,000 employees. We're a global leader in advanced engineering technologies. I think what made the merger cool and makes us a little bit different and separates us is the vast amount of skill sets and different positions that we have within Amentum. There's probably very few skill sets or positions that you can think of that doesn't fall within Amentum. Anywhere from the service industry all the way up to full scope polytechnical, built facilitate infrastructure, intel positions. I mean, it just runs the gamut of what we can offer veterans that are coming out in transition. We really could probably find a home for just about any MOS, any skill set that's transitioning.
Yeah, that's something that as a veteran coming out, if you're looking at the government contracting space, there's some organizations that are very niche. They only do a specific thing. And so you think if you're a veteran coming out, you're like, well, I can't find a good place to talk to, but organizations like Amentum, like you said, there's really, I would almost say if you're coming out, it doesn't really matter what you did in the Army or the Navy or the Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, name your branch, name your job. There's likely something at Amentum that could be in that wheelhouse, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the last time I looked, we had over 3,500 jobs posted. And if you just kind of scroll through the career site and just look at the different skill sets, I think it aligns to exactly what you said. It's really, where can I find my home within Amentum, and with us being across, most of the U.S. and a lot of countries, there's just opportunities for different skill sets on a vast scale across the globe.
Yeah. And something else though, that we're going to talk about here is these larger organizations, when there's so much to do, and sometimes not just veterans, but just job seekers in general here. Well, just go to our website, just check it out. We got 3,500 jobs. I mean, it might take forever to scroll through all those jobs and crazy job titles to figure out what you do. So good organizations like Amentum, you guys have a recruiting team and a recruiting makeup that does a few things to help job seekers in general, but also to help some veterans specifically. We were going to talk about some of that stuff today. First of all, you've got a veteran recruiting team, Darrell. I mean, not just a single person, but what does that team do and how do they help? And just, what should a veteran coming out know about the Amentum veteran recruiting team?
Well, yeah, I'm going to start with my internal team. So we're made up of a lot of veterans just from the Intel and Cyber group. I mean, I've brought on 6 Hire Heroes or SkillBridge folks myself, and most of those folks are still on our TA team. So even when you're reaching out to us internally, even if there's skill sets that don't fall in Intel and cyber, we're going to guide you in the right direction and ask the key questions. When you're transitioning, what locations are you looking for, your clearance level, to kind of guide you in the right direction to make sure that we're helping you transition, because we know it's like we've transitioned ourselves and had that little bit of fear of what's my next career and where I'm going to go from there. But we also have a veteran recruiting team within Amentum. Their job is solely to find transition veterans and veterans who've been out or just seeking a new career, a role within Amentum. So if you go to the career site, there's a tab for military transition. You can go through there. You can input your information. Information goes to this recruiting team. They'll help you navigate the career page. They'll send you an intake form, which kind of hones in what you're looking for, where you're looking for, so you're not scrolling through those 3,500 positions trying to figure out where you fit and what's best for you. They're going to help you navigate through our career site to find you a home within Amentum.
Yeah. Hey, if you're just joining us, if you just this is just popping up on your screen during your little lunchtime, actually on the East Coast, we're talking to Darrell Eplee, Talent Acquisition Director from Amentum. If you have any questions, you can throw those out there into the comments section on LinkedIn, and we can take a look at some of those things as well. We've talked about the veteran recruiting team, and man, Darrell, that is just, like I said, I was in the Navy, did 20 years, came out. You were in the Army, came out, and can be so daunting. And it can be so having that actual person to talk to. And one of the things that you were really proud of when we were chatting about this is how those folks can help get you to the right recruiter because there's so many different parts of Amentum, right? How many different, business units you guys have? Offhand?
Yeah, we have 4 different business groups, and they're pretty large. I mean, if you think you're separating that into 53,000 employees, so it can be daunting. To filter through all those positions.
So sometimes if I'm a veteran, I'm talking to a recruiter, maybe I run into a recruiter at the job fair, maybe I've run into them on LinkedIn. They may or may not be, if I'm just talking to a straight recruiter, the right recruiter that I want to deal with based upon my skill set. So that you're saying that one of the things that your veteran recruiting team can do is not just tell them where to go, but kind of help prepare them for that next step too?
But they're champions of the transition veteran. I mean, they'll dig through the system. They'll find out who the hiring manager is. They'll make direct contact with the hiring manager recruiter to kind of push those veterans to the front of the line and give them a voice within the company.
Boy, that is something that you mentioned, the hiring manager too. This is, I used to teach part of the TAP class, and part of that curriculum is always telling them how to find the hiring manager, That is awesome to know that you've got a team that's part of their goal and their process is to get that veteran to the hiring manager to get them through to the right people. So I think that is awesome to know. You also mentioned, Darrell, when we were doing some of our pre-call, I mean, you guys are, I guess, cutting edge type thing. You got a new MOS skills translator. I know when we were chatting about it, the first question I asked you was like, is this the same type of thing that they had in 2014 when I got out, which is 11 years ago? And you were like, no, this is better. Technology's made it even easier. Break down this new MOS skills translator. You guys are really proud of this, aren't you?
Yeah, we're proud of it. It hasn't actually rolled out yet, but we're in the process of implementing this. And I wished I'd have had it when I was transitioning out, because I really didn't know what I was going to do. It was coming out of the Army as a scout. I was trying to figure out, what's my next move. So sooner than later, you'll be able to go to the career site and actually input your MOS or your code from when you were in the military, and it's going to run a search against our current openings, and it's going to show you which positions that you could possibly qualify for based off what you did in the military and based off what we have opening.
That is great, because like I said, I remember when they were trying to get this done in the 20 teens, and then they would take it and I was a hospital corpsman, and it would be kind of like barely told me what I needed to know. But with better technology, we can do things better. And really it sounds like this is one of those things that's going to be going hand in hand with the rest of your recruiting team, right? It's not just going to be AI has replaced your recruiters. It's going to help as part of the whole big picture, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really not for us. It's for the veterans. So they're not having to wade through those thousands of jobs and not sure where to even start their search. You literally just put in your MOS and the search starts for you. So it kind of gives you a launching point of where to go within Amentum as far as career wise.
Well, that is awesome. That is definitely awesome. Something else, Darrell, that we talked about a little bit in our pre-call, SkillBridge is something that it's on the minds, on the lips, whatever, on every veteran getting out. They hear about it. Sometimes SkillBridge works better than others. A lot of times it depends on the command, not just the company, the command they're coming from. But you guys do this. You've got a great team. I mean, you got stuff in the country, OCONUS stuff, maybe stuff people don't even know about. How's the SkillBridge program working out for you guys at Amentum?
Yes, it's working great on a lot of different levels. I know I want to point out one program specifically. It's in Hawaii. They seek out SkillBridge opportunities, and they probably bring in close to 30 SkillBridge folks a year, and they end up hiring about 85% of those. So they were really a launching point for other programs with an Amentum to use the SkillBridge because they showed it can work, and it's a value. It's a value not only to us, not only to the veteran, but also to our client, because they're getting to see talent that's coming straight out of the military and able to provide them the service they need. So that obviously that's fed over to all of our other business groups and programs that we're able to help find folks home. That's another thing that the military recruiting team does is they help the SkillBridge folks get through the process. So they'll help with the training plans. They'll help make sure that you have everything to give your SkillBridge DoD POC all the information they need with timelines, where they'll be working, what they're going to be supporting. So they're going to help veterans through that process to get through the SkillBridge and get that opportunity to come preview us and us preview them and hopefully bring them on after they transition.
Yeah, the SkillBridge program is so great because really it's designed, like you said, 85% of the people going to the SkillBridge get hired by Amentum. I mean, that's the way a good SkillBridge program is designed to work. I mean, it's not just a training platform for them to go someplace else. It's kind of designed for, like you said, extended job interview, so many great things to do. But having that, I was looking at one of our questions that came in, but one of your folks already answered it from your team before I even have to bring it up. This is awesome. One of the questions I had, so this gentleman, I'm not going to repeat his whole question. It's in the LinkedIn comments, but he's getting it answered right now by one of your folks, Ashley Elrod. But he had a question about how his process was going. And if you're a veteran and you're already in the process, you've already had, you're submitted an application. Is it too late to reach out to the veteran transition team and say, hey, I just heard about you, this part of Amentum, I've applied for this job. Is that a thing that they can do just to get on their radar?
So if they've already applied for a SkillBridge with another company,
no, not with Amentum. They've already applied for a position, maybe at Amentum, just like 3 days ago. They applied for something. Right. So that's already kind of begun that quote of the process. And they're just watching this now. They go, I didn't realize that Amentum had a veteran transition team. Is it still worth reaching out and saying, hey, My name is Bob. I was at a job fair. I just talked to these folks over here. They weren't the military people. We had a discussion, but I wanted to let you know that I'm here. That's
absolutely,
a good thing.
Absolutely reach out to them. Click on that military tab and fill out the intake form and let that team guide you through the process.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm happy to know that before we can even answer this gentleman's question, your team is already answering it live in the chat. So that's exactly the kind of stuff we do. So Tyrone out in Naples, Italy, he's out in Naples. I hope that everything works out well for you there, buddy. I'm glad to see that you and Ashley are connected in the LinkedIn chat. So let's go back to our regular part of our conversation here. We talked about the SkillBridge. We talked about everything that you guys do. Getting in touch with you. Can they get in touch with you, Darrell, specifically? I mean, I know you're on the cyber and intel side, but what's the best way to hit you up? Just LinkedIn is a good way?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a good way. It's got my contact information there. I'll be glad to help anybody that we can get them in front of the right people and help through the transition and hopefully bring you on with Amentum so you can be part of our team.
I really think that when you're talking about a big company like this, that it really behooves the job seeker and the transitioning veteran to take advantage of all of those things, to look online, to make those connections, to use the skills translator when it comes out, to go to the job fairs and talk to people, putting all those pieces is really there. There's no silver bullet, is there? I mean, it's still a real process.
It is. And I think it goes back to, don't wait to to your transition and to start transitioning. I think you need to start looking 6 months to a year out, start making those connections. I mean, we all have friends that got out before us. Stay in contact with those folks, because especially if they're in the same skill set and locations that you're looking to work and they found work, those are folks that you can tap into as well. So start making those connections early. Stay in contact with your friends that are getting out. Start looking at where you're wanting to transition out at. Is it a big hub for government contracting, or is it not? Because that's going to dictate kind of what companies you're going to look for. Then start looking at the companies in those areas that you're interested in, and start making those connections on LinkedIn. Start going to those jobs fair. Start making your transition a year out. Don't wait till you go to TAPS to start it, because a lot of where people end up working and working for has a lot to do with their network and who they've been talking to, and that's key. Because I mean, most of the positions that I've got prior to coming over recruiting, when I was on the program side, was a lot of folks that I knew that were doing similar work that helped me transition out.
Yeah, that's so key. I tell people that, you know, that you start preparing to get out the day you got in. You stand on, Marine Corps style, they have the yellow footprints there at Parris Island in San Diego. The day you step on the yellow footprints at boot camp or OIS is the day you start thinking about when you're going to get out, because you never know. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to meet. And unfortunately, I mean, you never know how long you're going to stay in the military. You can get hurt. You know, you can get, medically separated where you still need a job. All of a sudden you weren't planning on getting out, but man, you got to have that connection, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. So make them early.
Yep. So lots of ways to make connections, hitting folks up on LinkedIn, following people. There we go. More stuff. Following people on LinkedIn, going to places like job fairs. We got our next job fair for ClearedJobs.Net is going to be August 21st. It's a virtual event for all clearance levels. So we just had a great event. Our last one was for poly only folks. Amentum had a team there, was just talking to everybody, having a great time. So going to those things, and like Darrell said, even if you've got a year out, I mean, that's sometimes just going to a job fair is just mentally gives you that break of like, no kidding, I'm really going to get out. Like, it just helps prepare you, doesn't it?
Well, it does too. And I think you hit on something that I haven't thought of about until now is, when I got out, I didn't go to job fairs until I was really out.
Yeah.
If you're going to them early, you kind of know what to expect.
And there's no pressure.
Yourself a little bit more as it gets closer to transition out to, because if you've never been to a job fair as a candidate, it can be daunting to literally repeat yourself and what you're looking to do and what you want to do over and over again to multiple companies. So
yeah, but when you go a year out, there's no pressure. You can't start anyway. So if you're going to screw things up, if you show up and you're like, wow, maybe I shouldn't have worn my uniform, or maybe I should have dressed, maybe I should have had a better resume, or maybe I shouldn't have stuck my foot in my mouth when I was talking to people. Get all that stuff out of the way early.
Well, yeah. And you can gauge companies, is this a company that I'm interested in? It'll help that, that process early in investigating them, where do I want to work and where do I want to land when I transition?
You see things at job fairs, you see things like this on LinkedIn, you start following the company, follow Amentum on LinkedIn. Don't just keep an eye on them, hit that follow button. These folks like Darrell, connect with them on LinkedIn, because they're going to be sharing stuff. And as it gets closer, you're going to start to see, not only what they've got going on, but good example, this MOS skills translator, somebody that met you a year ago, you wouldn't have been talking about this, but it's brand new right now. If you were about to get out, you would be, all about jumping on that train there. So that's all some good stuff. Any other final thoughts for transitioning veterans, Darrell, that you just any tidbits of information you want to throw out there before we let you go?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get out, there's no one over the world resume. You're not going to write a resume and be able to apply for every single position. A lot of that has to do with contracting and what we're held to as a company as far as hiring folks. There's certain requirements that we can't waiver, and we have to have those requirements. So really look at the position to one, ask a couple questions. Do I actually qualify for this position? And if I do, does my resume reflect those requirements, so I can get that call from the recruiting team and eventual interview with the hiring manager. So finding a job is a full-time job. So look at your resume, look at the job you're applying for, and ask yourself those questions. Do I qualify? And if I do, does my resume reflect those qualifications?
Yeah. Well, hey, Darrell, we really appreciate your time and your team's time out there in the comments section too. You're really showing off great with that part. Love to have you back at some point, but let me just tell you, I love these Military Mondays because it helps to put a real human face on recruiters for these veterans who think to themselves, it's just a big process. And then even more so at a big company. Oh, it's just a big process. I can never break through. It's all just luck, but it's not. There's real people out there who really get paid real money to help you out, and that's what your veteran recruiting team does, Darrell. So we appreciate your time today, bud.
Yeah, thanks, Bob, for having me. I love your events. Can't wait to go to the next one.
All righty. If you've still got questions, you can throw them in there. We can try to get some stuff answered in the chat, as we keep going on, but we're going to let Darrell go. We hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you later on. Bye-bye.